A very good afternoon to all speakers and delegates. Welcome again for our Day 2 of Malaysia Congress of Geriatric Medicine 2021. I hope everyone had a nice lunch break and welcome back to our virtual congress. This is the Breakout 8 Gerotechnology session. My name is Rosmahani Mama Ali from Hospital Kuala Lumpur, and I will be your chairperson for this session. Today, we are very fortunate and excited to have three distinguished speakers. Our first speaker is Professor Pei Tay, who is the Head of Department of Management at the School of Business and the Founding Director of Gerotechnology Laboratory at Monash University, Malaysia. Prof. Tay is very passionate to drive research on how technology transforms business processes and organization and on the impact on people's lives and society at large. Today, she will be talking on solutions to active aging. Our second speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Siti Anum with her talk on fall detection and balance monitoring system for older person. Prof. Siti is also the Director of Malaysian Research Institute of Aging. Her primary research interest is on biomedical engineering, geron technology, and intelligent control system. Our third speaker needs no further introduction if you have been in the geriatric unit PPUM. Dr. Kor Hui Min is a consultant geriatrician and senior lecturer in PPUM. Her area of special interest is in orthogeriatric care, osteoporosis, dementia, and malnutrition in the older person. Her topic will be, are older Malaysians ready for telemedicine? For some housekeeping details, please do submit your question in the chat box or Q&A tab. Thank you everyone and have a good session.
Very good morning to distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the organizing committee for hosting this event. I feel honored to be invited to give a talk on the geron technology. My name is Pei Lee. I'm a professor from the School of Business, Monash University, Malaysia. I also have the privilege of leading the Monash Geron Technology Lab as director. It will be my pleasure for the next 20 minutes to share with you the overview of aging and technology in Malaysia, the journey and story of how the Geron Technology Lab and research came to be, the multidisciplinary research that we are doing, and where we'll go on from here. For the past century, humans have been adding years to life. More people now survive the challenge of childbirth and childhood to reach old age. So this trend is not restricted to the developed countries, but has become a trend in the countries of Southeast Asia. Globally, the proportions of older adults aged 60 years old and above has been increasing, and the number is projected to increase from 1 million in 2020 to 2 billion in 2050. In Malaysia, the total population was recorded at 32.7 million people in 2020. More importantly, it is estimated that 7%, which is 2.3 million of us, are senior citizens aged 65 years and above. As you can see from this table, the tempo of aging population in Southeast Asia will accelerate in the next 9 years. In 2020, Malaysia has become an aging society because we have 7% of population aged 65 and above, and in 2030, we will reach 10%. Now, we are sharing the same aging problem, but the problem is not the same. This is because the developed countries became rich before they became old. The developing countries will become old before they become rich. The growing concern over the issues of population aging led to the adoptions of national policy for the older adults. In 1995, the national policy for the elderly was Malaysia's first strategic policy on aging. This policy is under the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development to ensure the social status, dignity and well-being of older persons. In 2008, the National Health Policy for Older Persons was adopted with key focus on promoting healthcare and disease prevention activities. In 2011, the government came out a revised policy on National Policy for Older Persons and Plan of Action for Older Persons. So this revised policy seeks to develop a caring society, enhance capacity building, advance health and well-being, and also to address the safety and social security of older adults. So 10 years have passed and it's time to revise the national plan. So the new National Action Plan for Aging Population 2021 to 2025 aims to strengthen the post hospitalizations care for older adults, and develop more age-friendly facilities, products, and services. Home is where the heart is. This proverb should guide thinking about living arrangement for older adults. Housing options for older adults in Malaysia have increased in recent years. There are a few retirement living such as Green Acres, Oral Sanctuary, Eden on the Park built in both West and East Malaysia. There is a wide range of technological support and care needs. To quote one example, Oral Sanctuary provides e-health monitoring device, traditional Chinese medicine. For work and leisure, older adults can engage in aging mastery program, U3A program, and also other voluntary work. Eden on the Park, which is located in Kuching, Sarawak, is the first active senior living resort with an adjacent aged care facility in Malaysia. I have visited the place before. They provide a full range of care and nursing services such as health tracking system. Recently, Prima Corporation has proposed to build affordable, low-rise retirement villages in Penang and Malacca. The Malaysian government has introduced different financial assistance for older adults. At the individual level, eligible older adults will receive the Bantuan Orang Tua, 500 ringgit per month. The retired civil servant with no pension, they receive 300 ringgit per month. Home Health Services program is launched for the volunteers. Anyone like us can participate. So these volunteers will be trained, and each of them would have to take care of a maximum of 4 older adults who live alone or are bedridden. Now, volunteers must complete 16 visits and bring along some gifts during their service. Each volunteer will receive about 400 ringgit from the government upon completion. In Malaysia, the older adults are generally cared by their family members. There's a provisions of health aid for the carer of a person with disabilities, senior citizens with chronic conditions, 500 ringgit per month. There's a tax exemption 8,000 for medical treatment, special needs and care for parents. And the government also encourage post-retirement employment. So at the organizational level, there's a tax deductions for companies hiring older adults aged 60 years old and above. So the government has invested in the Senior Citizen Activity Centres, or we call it Pusat Aktiviti Warga Emas Pawai. So since March 2020, 143 Pawai has been set up. The target is to build 222 Pawai by 2030. What is Pawai? Pawai is community place for senior citizens to perform their daily activities to improve their quality of life. There are Pawai assistants and volunteers who help the seniors to be digitally ready, do e-payment and spot fake news. Program Unit Penyayang Warga Emas is to provide transport service for older adults with mobility challenge to get medical treatment. We all know that COVID has a great impact on the older adults. In Malaysia, older adults and frontliners are the first batch to get vaccination. My Sejahtera app was developed by the Malaysian government to manage the COVID. Everyone in Malaysia is required to scan the app everywhere we go for health assessment and monitoring. Given that older adults may find it difficult to use the app for registrations, there's a function to add vaccine dependent where others can register for them. We found that 37% of the Selangor residents do not have smartphones, mobile phones, or internet access. So in Selangor, older adults will be registered by its volunteers to the Immunicell application. The older adults will receive a physical Immunicell card with a QR code and personal details upon registration. GoCar Malaysia has launched GoVax. It's a CSR initiative to provide free transport for the seniors and people with disabilities to go to their COVID vaccination appointments. Another transportation service is Care Concepts provided by Managed Care. The fee starts from 60 ringgit per hour. Grab Malaysia also provide transportation service for the older adults up to 8 ringgit off for seniors for 4 rides, but they must register on GrabPay by 7 June 2021. For bedridden families, they can contact the nearest Klinik Kesihatan KKM, which partners with Malaysian Red Crescent, Emirat, Mercy Malaysia, and St. John Ambulance to arrange transportation for vaccination. Homage Malaysia provides vaccinations escort and transport service. The cost is about 120 ringgit for round trip, and you have local certified caregiver to provide the service. Since March 2020, 8 phases of MCO were implemented in Malaysia. In a national ICT study, we found that COVID and MCO has increased the technology adoptions among the older adults. As you can see from here, the percentage of older adults using the internet in Malaysia has increased from 2018 to 2020. Um, about 26% of the seniors aged 60 years old and above purchase goods and services online, and they also order foods or goods online. They do internet banking as well, and they use internet to search health information. There was a marginal increase for seniors doing an informal online course or formal online course, and they actually watch TV online. Hire Seniors is a platform to connect seniors and retirees to companies in need of skill resources. Maya Persara is a smart application for retirees to access information such as their personal data and monthly pension payment. Hire Seniors partners with Khazanah Nasional to launch MyStep 2021 program. And in this program, seniors are hired for 6 months by the host company. Makcik Travels is a local app. Makcik is a Malay word, means auntie. User can make a booking prior 2 hours via WhatsApp for the services. Teman Malaysia is a social enterprise that provides personalized care companion services for the seniors. Riding Pink is Malaysia's first women-only e-hailing service for women. Persatuan Mobility Selangor and KL offer services for van booking to transport wheelchair-bound users. Travel Assist offer transport services for seniors and people with disabilities. Examples of mobile app for grocery and meal delivery include Happy Fresh, Foodpanda, GrabFood, and Pop Meals. Recently, there's an award-winning project on virtual tourism powered by virtual reality. One of the hot devices in Malaysia is Preventec. This is Malaysia's first seniors emergency response smart band. So this smart band has built-in multiple features such as SOS alert button, GPS tracking, fall detections, and whatnot. SmartPeak is an AI health tech company that develops automated monitoring system to prevent accidents and assist the healthcare professionals to respond to their patients. Other examples of digital health include BookDoc, GetDoc, Doctor2You, D2D Healthcare. Recollections is a mobile app developed by Maxis, one of the largest telco company in Malaysia. So this app helps the older adults revisit the memories they capture on their phones. This is very useful for dementia and Alzheimer's patients. Care Concierge app enables family members to keep track of their loved ones through a digital diary. Now, let's have a virtual tour to Monash. Monash University Malaysia was established in 1998. It is the third largest campus of Monash, Australia, and the first foreign university campus in Malaysia. Monash Malaysia has over 8,900 students from 78 different countries. The Jaran Technology Lab is one of the 12 research facilities in Monash, Malaysia. The lab was officially launched in 2016. The lab builds upon Monash's long-standing traditions of creating socially relevant research, innovating educational practices, influencing policy making, fostering community-university partnerships, and sharing best practices with others. This is our vision and mission. We have 3 key priority research areas for multidisciplinary projects in the lab. We have 3 key priority research areas for multidisciplinary projects in the lab. First, to harness the power of artificial intelligence and smart technologies to improve life. Second, to shape our future business and policy to capitalize on the longevity economy. Third, to make a sustainable impact on the life of our aging societies. The lab also serves as a center for education and training, assessment and consultation concerning Jaran technology, home safety, and independent living environment. We work in partnership with housing communities, NGOs, and local hospitals and physicians to recruit a diverse range of volunteers to participate in our study. As of now, we have 94 people signing up for this volunteer community. In April 2016, we ran the first workshop on smartphone usage for the seniors. Due to COVID and MCO, we converted our face-to-face workshop to online workshop. We call it Tap Tap program. TTP is a customized training program that brings seniors together to promote digital empowerment and intergenerational learning. In 2019, we showcased 2 sets of exoskeleton, Larwolf and ExoWorks to the general public. We also have the privilege to present our research to the former Prime Minister, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. In 2016, we collaborated with PetroScience to host the Giant Technology Exhibitions and Special Talk. We called it Senior Connected for 2 weeks. We always observe what certain loss of functions might be, but it's important to feel it. Until you feel it, the real technology or innovation is not about the new device, but it is about solving a problem. For example, we have this age simulation suit in the lab where students, young adults, like caregiver can try on to experience the physical conditions of aging. We use this to teach the students and to conduct research experiment on young people to explore their attitudes. Yeah. We use this suit to we use this suit in teaching and learning and to conduct research experiment on young people to explore their attitude towards gerontological studies before and after wear. We organized the Gerant Technology Challenge in 2018, and we also organize the Gerant Technology Symposium every year. We hosted in 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Most people think old age is a problem. We are thinking of it as an opportunity at the lab, which is how we are going to work, live, and play tomorrow. We work on aging and gerent technology projects by engaging researchers across different disciplines like IT, engineering, and whatnot within Monash, local, and international university. Gerent technology is the word bearing gerontology, which means scientific studies of aging and technology. And let's think about the convergence of aging and technology come in together to invent how you will live tomorrow. Giant technology is about designing technology and environment for independent living and social participations of seniors in good health, comfort, and safety. The scope of giant technology covers the 5 domains of human activities that includes health and self-esteem, housing and daily living, mobility and transport, communications and governance, work and leisure. Let me give you an idea some of the giant technology projects undertaken in Monash. Completed and ongoing projects are highlighted in black, future projects are highlighted in red. Our work are published in these journals. Ambulate Me is a project by our School of Engineering. They built an exoskeleton to assist in sit-to-stand and ambulation. A patent is filed for this prototype. This is the first soft robots that we designed for the seniors. This robot can navigate in environment, detect objects, and drop the objects to specific locations selected by the user. We later improved the prototype design. Another project I would like to share is the new field communication set-top box, home system, and smartphone home system. This is an IoT prototype. User can tap the phone on a phone interface. User can tap the phone on a photo interface. The app will be launched automatically. User just tap to turn on and off the home appliances such as lamp, TV, or aircon. The ladybird here is the Raspberry Pi, act as the set-top box for non-smartphone user. We also collaborate with public university in the Ageless Research Project. In this project, our team aims to develop a seamless mobility solutions for the seniors, including those with cognitive frail. This video shows the first version of our mobility app. We call it a Take Me app. So this is our first version of our app. Monash is located in the Sunway City. We collaborate with Sunway Group to study the aging and urban mobility in Sunway City. We brought together the seniors who live in Sunway to Monash to participate in our lighting and cognitive study. We also brought them out to experience taking BRT, canopy walk and free shuttle bus. Women in Tech application is our latest project, collaborating with several universities such as Thammasat University, University of Southern California. We aim to develop an application powered by AI for the older women in the rural areas. We are hoping that this application can enable the older women at work. At the national level, the government, industry, and universities are working on several initiatives such as producing a multidimensional aging index, a database of every senior citizens, to promote greater public-private partnerships in provisions of care services and to develop more age-friendly facilities and digital services. The work we do in the lab cannot solve all the problems of aging, but will be improving the life of older people, enabling them to live well and age well in the last third of their adult life. We have limited resources, but we use our resources efficiently. We hope to actively collaborate with university, businesses, and government locally and internationally to improve the quality of life of seniors. If you are interested to work with us, please contact us. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and very good day to everyone. I am Siti Anwar Ahmad from Malaysian Research Institute on Aging, My Aging, University Putra Malaysia. My presentation title for today is Fall Detection and Balance Monitoring System for Older Persons. This is the content of my presentation today. The pace of population is faster than in the past. With the improved health and technology, people will have longer life expectancy than previous generation. This picture here shows the percentage of population aged 65 or over and the data from United Nations. In 2020, there are about 9% older persons from the total population, and in Malaysia, there are about 7% older population from our total population, and Japan. I would like to share with Japan, the super aged country. Now in 2020, they have 28% from their total populations are older persons. And in 2050, we can see that the proportion of older persons worldwide in Malaysia and in Japan have increased by double. So this is Malaysia population aging trends, and the left hand side is the population age sex pyramid in Malaysia from 1950 to 2050. What we can see here, the proportion of older persons have increased over the years. And on the right hand side, these figures, we can see that in 1980, there is one older person from 19 people, but in 2050, the numbers have shrunk, where from 5 people there will be one older person. There are 3 common challenges of older persons. The first one is health, where we know that multi-morbidity has increasing with age that need prolonged healthcare, and also non-communicable disease also high among older persons. And the other important issue is mental health. We can see that quite a serious issue in older persons. The second common challenge is the financial issue, where it is important to have solid financial security to sustain their life. And the third one, which is the focus of our presentation today, is on the safety, because older persons, they can develop geriatric syndrome such as frailty, urine incontinence, and tendency to fall. Falls are the second leading cause of accidental or unintentional injury death worldwide. Frequency of falls increase with age, frailty level, and also living arrangement. If we look at the statistics of falls among older persons, globally, Data from WHO shows that about 28 to 35% aged 65 years and above reported to fall one or more times each year. And in Malaysia, about 14% older persons 60 years old and above reported to fall each year. Due to this, we expect technology devices could help in empower our older persons in the future. So I would like to share more about the fall issues among our older persons. The first one is in Malaysia, there is rising prevalence of falls among older persons, which is about 34 respondents fall at least once in the past 6 months prior to the survey, and 50% of them require medical attention at the hospital. And the second one, data from WHO about usage of assistive device among older persons. And the study showed that access to assistive devices for older persons is limited, and lack of information and awareness on the range of available assistive devices. We have many assistive devices, but the information are still limited to our older persons. And most of the respondents, they never heard or known about fall detection device, never used a fall detection device, and said they have no information of how or where to purchase the device. On another study conducted by Damodaran et al., they conducted a study on older persons' perception and acceptance of assistive devices, and they found out that one of the concerns is a privacy and intrusive characteristic of some sensors. And our older persons, they are not literate with advanced technology, and the need for tailored training and assistance in learning and using a new technology device. And most of the respondents, they showed interest to use device because they believe the device will increase safety and reduce the risk of falls. Next, we look into the fall detection system. Okay, fall here could be slip, fall down, trip, or tumble. Okay, what is fall detection system? Fall detection systems assist older persons and their caregivers in avoiding the consequences of long life periods by a proposed series of events as follows. First, this system will detect fall and then send alarm, notification alarm, sending message and calling for help as soon as possible. So, long lie here is identified as unwillingly remaining on the ground for an hour or more following a fall. And from the reported study, half of those who experience the long lie die within 6 months of the fall. Therefore, it's very important to take immediate action whenever any fall event occur. Okay, this is standard general block diagram of fall detection system. So we need sensors, either wearable sensors or non-wearable sensors. Wearable sensors is something that you wear. Non-wearable sensors are located in your environment. So whenever these sensors detect any fault event, signals will be acquired. And we'll analyze the signals, extract information from the signals to see if there is any fault event occur, or it is a false alarm. If it's true event, it's true there's a fault event occur, then we'll send notification. So I would like to share wearable devices that could be used to detect fall. Smart glasses, smart watch, smart shirt, SGPS, and so on. But the most common one, I believe everybody knows, is smartwatch can be used to detect numbers of signals, and fall is one of them. Studies by Kola et al. Shows the limitation of fall detection system. So these are the problems with existing fall detection device. They are uncomfortable, privacy issue, difficult to use, false detection, expensive, and limit to only detect false. So I would like to focus on this limit to only detect false. Yes, this system may be useful to reduce the interval from detecting from falling to rescuing, but the system they don't have that prevention feature, which my team believe is very important. How to prevent falls from happen. Okay, risk factors of fall. Fall risk factors are home hazard, sensory problems, low blood pressure, mobility, and balance. So we look how we use this balance information to prevent falls from happen. So what is balance? Balance is harmonious and contextually appropriate interplay of stability and mobility of the body with respect to its base of support. This is data from Hudson 1996, and base of support means contact may be body parts, for example feet or hands, and they may include things like crutches or the chair a person is sitting in. As we know, most of the older persons, they have mobility issues and they need assistive devices like walker, wheelchair to help them with their movement. Okay, research framework. This project is collaboration with Kyushu Institute of Technology. Okay, with the aim, we want to develop a fall detection simulation system incorporating balance monitoring system which can be practically used in real-time operation. So it has four main parts. The first one is to develop an analysis of older persons' perceptions towards the use of fall detection device, finding the relationship between falls and instability, finding relationship between questionnaire analysis and balance features, and system development. So this is the methodology. The first one is the first one is survey. Survey for this instrument, we'll look into fall assessment, perception on the usage of fall detection devices, expectation of fall detection devices, and from the survey we'll proceed to the next stage to the design parameters where we will be using quality function deployment approach where it will translate consumer requirements into the engineering specification to establish the product. And from there, we'll move into the system development stage where we'll design the fall detection, balance monitoring, and alert notification. And finally, the last stage is GUI system where we'll develop user-friendly system for easy monitoring and easy detection of the system. Results. So this is findings from the survey. Is a quantitative method questionnaire. Our respondents are 50 years old and above in Malaysia. And number of respondents, we have 416 respondents recruited from community dwelling. So the survey, the questionnaire consists of two sections, demographic and fall assessment and balance issues, perception and expectation. So for the second section, we divide it into two, subject with experience and subject with no experience using fall detection device. And the key findings, 34 respondents had a fall in the past 6 months. 27% of the respondents reported to have a balance disorder. Male and respondents aged 60 years and older have higher tendencies of falling. The most common locations of falls are outdoor kitchen, toilet and bedroom. The top 3 features expected by respondents in a fall detection device are easy to use, affordable price and accurate. Most of the respondents, they never used a fall detection device before and they have never heard or known about a fall detection device. From the survey, also the respondents showed interest in using the device and agreed that the device will increase their safety and reduce the risk of falls. From the survey, we proceed to the next stage, which is quality function deployment development. So in this stage, with this approach, we look into what are the customer requirements. In this case, our older persons, we look into the features, expected features of the device, and also expected price for the device. And from there, the major expectation divided into 4 categories of quality, design, function, and cost. And we'll use these 4 as the inputs to customer requirements driven design. And this is engineering requirements based on that 4 categories as well, but we look in from engineering perspective. And this is additional features required by the respondents, and will use these inputs as for the engineering specifications driven design. This is when we combine the customer requirements, which is we can see there here, major expectation of the device, and the functional requirements, engineering point of view. So this is a major characteristic of the device, and from this analysis, we will get the final output is in terms of ranking. What are the top priorities that is required for the design? And from the analysis, okay, it shows that the first one is to include balance features in the design. Okay, from the QFD, then we'll develop our system. So first we need to acquire a movement, walking, to detect if there is a fall or no. So as I mentioned earlier, we want to include balance feature. So we will monitor, we'll integrate, we'll include balance monitoring in the system. Then to assess how's the balance. If there is loss of balance, then we'll notify the user. And this information will be added to our fuzzy-based system, classification system. And at the end, we can see the system will display status of balance assessment, okay, and display advice to avoid fall or prolonged instability. So this is the complete system of the fall prevention system. And from there, okay, after that, once everything step 3 is completed, we'll develop the graphical user interface system that could show fall instability risk and also gate speed. So the significance of using fall prevention simulation system is to identify the fall risk levels by the balance assessment. And this balance assessment report enable user to review the performance in terms of risk of falls, risk of instability, gate pattern, monitor and analyze the older person's condition, predict a fall by analyzing the abnormality in the individual assessment, and the system also can alert users of their abnormal gait patterns and advise them to maneuver to avoid fall and loss of balance, and assist caregiver and clinical or physical clinicians or physical therapists to provide proper rehabilitation if needed. As a conclusion, technology is a tool to clinicians as part of improvement process in rehab for their patient, and the device can be personalized according to the condition of the patient. Technology, apart from supporting caregivers to reduce their and improve quality of care, it is used to enhance the physical and cognitive well-being, to sustain their independent living and health and life satisfaction. And in the design stage, we should design with older persons, not for them. Understand their need, and we'll design a system that suits with what they want. This project will give impact to individual, caregiver or institution, as well as physical therapists or clinicians. The challenges. The main challenge in doing this project is due to COVID-19. We cannot. The project started in 2019. We managed to do stage 1 and stage 2, and currently we are in stage 3. So we have to wait until we are allowed to do the data collection or to enter the premises. So we cannot do that at the moment. And for future work, upon completion of the project, we will develop the prototype and do real-time testing. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for the invitation. My name is Dr. Kor Hui Min. I'm a geriatrician in University of Malaya. So today I'm going to talk to you about telemedicine with the topic, are our older Malaysians ready for telemedicine? So what exactly is telemedicine? Sometimes you hear a lot of different terms being used, telecare, telehealth, telemonitoring. So actually the whole concept goes under telehealth. So under telehealth, there is telemonitoring, where it's a remote monitoring of how your patients are doing. And there is another section called telemedicine. So the definition of telemedicine includes the provision of clinical care, including diagnosis, treatment, or consultation using telecommunications for a patient at a distance. It can be using video communication as well as telephone communication. So let me discuss about the Internet User Survey in 2020 by the Malaysia Communication and Multimedia Commission. So with the current COVID-19 pandemic, it is not surprising to see a rise in internet users in 2020 compared to the past in 2018. So you see an 88.7% rise in the usage of internet. So if you look at the length of time people are on the internet, it is also increasing as compared to 2018. So it's not surprising when you see which type of social connection network that's being browsed through most of the time. The first one would be Facebook, and then YouTube, and as well as Instagram. But if you look at the three top communication application that's being used in Malaysia, the one that top the list is WhatsApp. The second one is Facebook Messenger, and then later on Telegram. So why is it important to discuss about this? Because then you would know what is the most common communication platform that is being used by Malaysia as well as the older population. So with COVID-19 that has started back in 2019, and when Malaysia has its first movement control order in March 2019, you could see worldwide the usage of telemedicine has increased exponentially. This is due to the reasons that older adults or even older patients are fearful of contracting COVID-19 when they come to the healthcare facilities. And this is not surprising because older adults are more vulnerable and can develop more complications as well as mortality if they do catch the infection. Hence, the acceptability of virtual consultation or telemedicine has increased. So if you look at the figure on your right, this is a study done in Singapore, our neighbor country. They have seen that in the blue line, this is the numbers of older people attending the geriatric clinic. And due to the lockdown that has occurred in Singapore, the numbers of attendees to the geriatric clinic plummet down, whereas the uptake of virtual consultation has increased due to the lockdown. And I think most of you would have also noted that the reduced rates of clinic attendance during the movement control order. Hence, we can see that even globally, the uptake of telemedicine is increasing. So what are the benefits of virtual consultation? So if you've been to the clinic and currently with the standard operating procedures, doctors are required to wear face shield and face masks in the clinical areas. So we find that a lot of older people may not be able to capture what is being communicated by the doctor because of the muffling of the voice that occurs with your face mask, as well as difficulties in understanding the expression given by the doctors with the face shield. Okay, so hence telemedicine or virtual consultation breaks these hindrances. And we find that when you actually do video consultation, the patients can see your face clearly as well as your gestures better. And the other benefit we find with virtual consultation is the patients are usually more relaxed in their home environment, and you as a clinician is able to assess how your patients function in their own homes. And when you look at the systemic reviews that look at the benefits of virtual consultation, it has been found that virtual consultation increases productivity, it is more cost effective, it improves waiting lists. You don't have to wait for months and months before you see a specialist. And in terms of the clinical benefits, they have been found to be successful polypharmacy review during virtual consultation. And importantly, there has also been studies which showed a reduction in acute hospitalization rates with patients using virtual consultation. So I'd like to share with you a study that we have done in University Malaya during the periods of July to about December last year, when we wanted to start off virtual consultation. We wanted to know how would it be acceptable to our older patients who are usually frail elderly at the vulnerable group. So we did a questionnaire a survey to determine the acceptability of virtual consultation. This questionnaire was developed based on the UTALT model. So the UTALT model allows us to see what may be the influences to the uptake of virtual consultation in terms of the technology basis in adults. So like I mentioned, the study period was between September to December, and we've included all older patients who are able to complete the survey themselves. And for those who are unable to complete the survey themselves, we've asked for their caregivers to complete it. And even with older people who refuse to participate in the survey, their caregivers are being asked if they would help to fill up the questionnaire. So the exclusion includes older adults who refuse to participate, or even caregivers who refuse to participate, as well as older adults or even the caregivers who are unable to comprehend the written survey. So out of all the questionnaires that we have given out, with about 297 returns of the survey, a majority of it were filled out by caregivers. And I mean, this can be explained by the Asian population of older people usually would get their caregivers to fill out their survey. Hence, when you sit in the geriatric clinic, you would see that there are lots of caregivers that come together with the older person. Okay, and out of the education level of those who participated in the survey, we find that majority of them have had tertiary education. And that's not surprising due to the vicinity of where University of Malaya is located. And we've only got very, very small percentage who had only just primary or no formal education. And out of all the survey, we find that majority of them have got an electronic device capable of virtual consultation, as well as the ability to connect to the internet. Okay, and out of 297 participants, only a very small minority has ever had experience with virtual consultation. So despite telemedicine being something that has been around for at least a decade, but the uptake of telemedicine was only very minimal up until the pandemic occurs. So this was what we found from the survey, and this is comparing the caregivers' answers to the patients. And when we look at it, there was no major differences in the different domains that we look at. So besides facilitating condition, where caregivers found that they were able to handle virtual consultation without the need of assistance, and they do have the devices to complete the virtual consultations, and that was seen to be a higher facilitation compared to the patients themselves. But if you look at the other domains, such as performance expectancy, effort expectancy, whether is it easy to use, or self-efficacy, whether they think they're not confident to use it, social influence, whether to take up virtual consultation, is it due to because the doctors asked you to do it, or because your family and friends has asked you to do it, as well as when we look at privacy and security, and the intention to use was no different between caregivers and patients. Overall, we found that the acceptance was high from all the participants that we have surveyed. But when we look at what do they use the internet for, there was a significant difference between age groups and the usage of internet activity. So we find that respondents aged 60 and below were more likely to be engaged with online banking, or even to do with activities requiring financial transaction. So that is more likely in the younger age group. So the other things that we found different between different age groups are like online shopping, accessing emails, and also viewing social media. So these are significantly more in the younger age group. Yeah. So this actually helps us to understand. So for example, if you want to set up a virtual consultation that require a patient to provide passwords or provide a financial transaction, you could see that older adults aged 60 or more will be less likely to uptake this sort of services. Okay, then so when we look at overall from the pool of participants who completed our survey, we find that those patients who live with someone or who lives in a residential care are more likely to uptake virtual consultation, suggesting that assistance is being needed if an older person wants to uptake virtual consultation. The other things were like possession of electronic device. So older adults or caregivers who actually are able to perform weekly online banking are more likely to uptake virtual consultation, suggesting they are more familiar with the internet usage. And lastly, we find that participants who are more familiar with virtual platform of communication are also more likely to uptake virtual consultation. So when we compare what we have found to what is happening in other countries, so we find similar results, as you could say. So this was a study done by Laura Liu and her colleagues, and it was published in Age and Aging sometime this year. So they look at factors associated with virtual care access in older adults. So during the heights of COVID-19 pandemic, they had two groups of patients, and they would ask them if they would like to have telephone consultation or virtual consultation. So out of 330 patients, majority, I have to say, would have chosen telephone consultation, but roughly about 1/3 actually chose virtual consultation. And when they look at the characteristics of the patients, those who chose virtual consultation mostly have caregivers with them, or they're likely at the less frail category. So even those who are independent in using computer, they find that they would still prefer telephone consultation compared to virtual consultation. So in their predicting model, even in older adults who are able to use computer independently, their probability of engaging with virtual consultation is 60% if there is a caregiver present, but the probability drops to only 15% if there was no caregivers. So this then highlights again what we found, that many times if an older person is to engage with virtual consultation, the presence of a caregiver actually increases the likelihood to participate. So let me talk to you about what you need to look out for when you're conducting virtual consultation. There are lots and lots of virtual consultation software out there. So this is what we have used in University of Malaya. So we work with Teleme. So it depends on what you want to achieve. So is it just a video software interface that you require, or do you require much more than that? So what we have here is we could prescribe medication through this platform. There are also messenger system where the patients can send us their results and they could communicate with us through a messenger system as well. We can do voice call through this app as well as video call through this app. So when you are preparing to conduct virtual consultation, you need to be aware of whether the patient has the hardware that is required to perform this consultation. So you want to see if they have a camera in their device and make sure that the voice application is also present. The other thing is that you need to assess if they have internet connectivity, whether a broadband or even a 4G or 5G network on their smartphones. And most of the time, what you need to do is also to help them with the installation of the teleconsultation application. Sometimes they will require emails, password, banking details. So depending on what population that you're trying to target, you may want to change it to something simpler if it was necessary, like, a Zoom call or even a Skype that may not always require the use of password. Okay. And it is important also, whichever application that you're going to use, or even what flow it is going to be in your clinic when you are promoting or when you're trying to start this service, you have to provide assistance and training on the modality before starting virtual consultation. And the other thing that patients would appreciate is that reminders being sent, whether through text messages, to remind them about the appointment of the virtual consultation, maybe usually about a week before or maybe a day before, or both. Okay, so during virtual consultation, you need to make sure that you're in a private room, a quiet space. You need to test your devices first to make sure that they're working appropriately. And during the start of the consultation, do introduce yourself. Do check the patient's identity as well. This is very important if you may not always be the same, if the patient does not always see the same doctor in your clinic review. Okay, so the other thing is that because this is virtual, you need to ensure that you speak slowly and clearly, but at frequent times, check that the patient is still able to hear you and also to see you clearly, because sometimes there may be some technical glitches that you may be lagging behind. Okay, so after the consultation, do document clearly in your medical records, and either during or after consultation, you may discover that some of your patients will require a face-to-face consultation. So if the patient has any red flag symptoms that requires physical examination, you need to bring the patient back to your clinic. If there was any difficulties in conducting virtual consultation, whether it's a software problem, a connection problem, you still need to bring the patient back. Or if there was any a necessity to discuss about sensitive issues, breaking bad news, then it's best to do it face-to-face than just through virtual consultation. So in your system, you need to let the patient know that there is always a fallback system that they can go back to, because otherwise they'll be worried that they may not see the doctor if necessary. Okay, so the feedback on virtual consultation. We have performed 100 over virtual consultation over the last couple of months, and we send feedback forms to the patient to receive what type of feedback we get, and what do they like, what do they not like about virtual consultation. So this is what our patients say. So what do they think? Most of the time, patients think that this is a good effort. The rating of the whole entire experience are also above average, ranging from 8.8 to 9 out of 10. So what patients comment is that, it has shorter waiting time. Patient is less agitated because they don't really have to wait so long in hospital. It saves transportation costs to and from hospital as well. So patients also feel that there is lesser of a hassle going around in a hospital looking for parking, as well as queuing up in a crowded hospital environment, and this reduces the risk of contracting COVID-19 as well. And the other thing is that they like the fact that they are doing the virtual consultation at home. Patients are more relaxed, especially for patients who may have cognitive impairment, and they can get advice in their comfort of their own home. And so patients who have mobility issues, it is more difficult trying to bring them to hospital, and we're talking about patients who may be bed-bound or even nursing home residents. So they find that having the messenger application that they can ask questions again or can get some advice through the messenger system, that there is always this connection, helps also for patients to want to engage in virtual consultation. So in summary, it is convenient, it saves travel time and cost, and it also reduces waiting time in hospital. So what are the other challenges that can occur during virtual consultation that could be improved? So connectivity of the internet is always an issue, whether is it on the other side from the patient or from your side, okay? So things can get interrupted, and you may have to repeat certain advice or information that you have given, okay? And this is also interesting. Patients who uptake virtual consultation because they don't want to come to hospital during the pandemic, we need to ensure that it would be good if you can provide a complete package. So means they see the doctor, they get medication sent to the house as well, so they don't have to come back just to get the medication. Other things includes the challenges are like, patients also feel that, the lack of physical examination may make some of them weary, that we may be missing certain important signs. And other things are like, because this is quite new, so some patients may not be very familiar with the application or even the usage of video calls. Otherwise, older patients also feel that, they can't do it on their own without assistance from their children, because some of them may not be so familiar with the computer. So when you look at these positive points and also the challenges that our patients faces, is quite universal from all other studies in the other countries. So this is just some suggestions. I just want to highlight that our older Malaysians do accept and is ready for telemedicine. So I think the question is whether clinicians are, or even the healthcare system is able to make this a regular service for our older patients. So if you were to start virtual consultation, you need to, number one, identify the workflow of how patients get recruited, how are they monitored, and what kind of system that you want to use. And you need to find the appropriate virtual software for your population of patients. Remember that personalized care is something that people love, and I think that will help in the success of your virtual consultation. Support and training is required. And if you can, complete package. Of course, some patients would say that, can I have a home visit, or, can I have people coming to take blood from me? But it depends on what kind of service you want to offer. And lastly, if there is always a way that your patient can connect to yourself, that is definitely always a plus point. Okay. So I think that's my last slide, and I hope that I'm able to convince you that our older Malaysians are ready, and now it goes back to whether clinicians are ready to provide this service long term. Thank you.
3, 2.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the three speakers. That was a truly enlightening afternoon talks. We will now open for Q&A session. We have a few questions here already. And I think the first one is actually for Dr. Kaur. Dr. Kaur?
Yes.
Okay. The
You can hear
question
me, right?
is there any medical legal aspect of telemedicine in frail older adults, especially in medication prescription?
I think there was this worry about what are the legal implications if we were to perform telemedicine, and I think our Telemedicine Act was quite many years ago.
Quite old,
so
yeah.
I think at the moment the MMC also provided some guidelines into conducting telemedicine. So mostly the clinician has to be trained to do so, and to ensure that whenever it is necessary, then patients need to come back for assessment. So if you talk about whether is it safe to in terms of giving medicine prescription for frail elderly, if it is a repeat prescription and the frail elderly is very stable, it shouldn't be a problem. But if you think that there is changes and you need to prescribe new medication, then I would say that a thorough assessment is necessary. Then it's better to bring the patient back to be reviewed. So all this also has to be a discussion within the patient, family members, and the clinician to see what is the best thing to do for the patient.
Okay. And the next question, I think, is for Professor Tay. When do you think the Mobility Aid XO will be available, and what is the probable cost?
Thank you for the question. I think this is a very important question because we actually need mobility aid, but the fact is some of the exoskeleton is very expensive. For example, in the lab that we have Lavos and ExoWorks. Lavos costs us about 15,000 ringgit Malaysia, and ExoWorks is about 30,000 ringgit Malaysia. So other exoskeleton, especially like in Japan, they are very good. However, they don't out of Japan. Yeah, so the accessibility is one issue. The cost is also one issue. So we are hoping that more and more researchers will actually develop and design more user-friendly and affordable exoskeleton for this older adult.
Yeah. So the next few years, Professor Tay?
We hope so. In our lab, we actually have researcher developing Ambulate Me. They have already patented that design, but we still have to cost down the material, so there's still a lot of work to be done. But I'm hopeful because in the West, it has been very advanced that it actually will assist and encourage people to be more mobile. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is Prof. Siti Anom. The question is, in hospital, some patient is deemed high fall risk and required to walk by staff, but fall happen for some patient when they are walk with the staff or without the staff. How would your research will be able to help them?
Okay, thank you for the question. So for this question, how my research could be able to help to detect fall earlier? I mean, we can predict the fall because we know the cause of fall is unbalanced. It's either not just in all the persons and even ourselves. So this research incorporate balance detection. So therefore, through this wearable device, we can detect if the older persons, we are talking about the older persons here, we can detect earlier that they have they are not balanced, so they can provide early notification for the older persons themselves or the caregivers, so we can take extra precaution and can prevent this from fall. So the research is not just for fall detection but also for
Prevention.
fall prevention through these balance features.
And also, Prof Siti,
Yeah.
is there already the ideal wearable available in the market?
There are many fall detection device available in the market, but as I mentioned earlier, most of them just can able to detect fall, but not prevent them to fall. And again, there are many devices, so we have to study each features from each device. So some are accurate, some just basic detection. Okay, so we need to investigate, we need to study all these features, all these products before we purchase.
All right. Dr. Kaur, is there any concern with confidentiality while conducting telemedicine, as most telemedicine would involve the presence of the caregiver as well?
I think that there is. So when you start teleconsultation, you have to inform the patient who is in your room. So you have to tell them that I normally start off with telling them that my name is Dr. Kaur, who I am, where I am now, and who else is there in the room with me. Just like if your patient comes into the room physically, they will see who's there. So the same thing, I will ask the patient who is there with them, and if they know who is around with them, and if they're happy for the person to be with them. Yeah. So I think if they agree and they know who's around there, then it shouldn't be a problem. So I think sometimes we think of telemedicine too rigid. So it really isn't that too much different from a face-to-face visit. Like, you know, the patient may bring a family together during consultation, but we're not too worried about it. But when it comes to telemedicine, there are a lot of these questions that comes out.
Correct. So, Professor Tay, have the panel come across, actually it's for everyone, have the panel ever come across the human airbag? It's a wearable vest which will be activated when the wearer falls. I thought it was ingenious. What is your opinion? Have you heard about it, Prof T?
Yeah, I have seen one kind of like a helmet
Mm-hmm.
and or hat, something like that. So when you fall, you will have like something to protect your neck and some right here.
It balloons up, is it?
Yeah, and also the hip part as well. But again, the challenge here is the seniors may not wear all these things. They don't need it. Yeah, so the adoptions and the seniors accessibility is that the challenge that we have to face and change their mindset that, hey, I know this is the important technology to protect you. Yeah, so it comes back to sometimes to the design of that product. Yeah, so a lot of those things that it is functional, but if it is not well designed and there's no trigger of anyone want to use it, then that product will not be successful. It's just like our smartphone. What makes us always, go and scroll? That is the trigger part. So similar to this kind of wearable product, we need to consider all these aspects. Yeah.
All right. There's actually a lot of questions here, actually. I'm just scrolling through, and
I think just one thing to add. I think we all watch a lot of WhatsApp video about different variables. And I just want to stress that it is important to look about the safety of this variable. And
correct.
sometimes family members, out of their best intention, would like to simulate it. So I've got a patient where the daughter actually put on a rugby hat for the mother to prevent her from getting head injury. I'm not quite sure if it is going to be effective, but it may be dangerous to think that, oh, it's okay, we just let her walk around without any aids now. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have other things to consider, not just the head, the spine as well, and the neck
Yes,
and the
of
hip.
course.
Right.
So that's why it's
Okay.
very good to prevent before the accident happens.
Yeah, that will be your part. Okay. Do we have more time for another one question? Dr. Kaur, what is your take on telemedicine for palliative patients?
I think it is very usable, and we have actually quite a number of patients who are too frail to come back to hospital, totally immobile on nasogastric tube feeding. And I have to tell you, the family would thank you so much, if you offer this support to them. A lot of times it's really a support that they want. They want to have a point that they can contact someone if they're unsure about certain things. And most of them do understand that, it is not a point of contact for emergency cases. I tell them, don't call me when it's an acute emergency or the telemedicine. Yeah, so they do understand. And I think it is really very helpful in palliative care sort of condition. Yeah.
All right. Okay. And the last question, Dr. Kaur, how successful was your experience in the virtual consultations that's ongoing right now?
I have to say that trying to get participants to join the teleconsultation hasn't been the easiest part. Not so much that they don't want to. Actually, to get more patients to participate, I will also require physicians to explain to the patient. So actually, getting physicians to be ready to do it is one hindrance as well. But otherwise, most people had no issue to do it as long as their condition are stable. But I guess the other thing to have to consider, which I've mentioned in the talk, is the platform that you would use. Most of the time, patients say, why don't you just use WhatsApp? It's so much easier. Why do I have to download this app, to do the teleconsultation? Yeah. And like I say, they like it if it's one whole package, medicine delivery and messaging system and all that. Yeah.
Do they say it's a bit time consuming? Not download, you have to download, and then you have to set reminders and things like that. Do they say it's time consuming?
No, I think most of the telemedicine that I've conducted are assisted by caregivers. So to caregivers, to be honest, it is very convenient. The number of time of how many people need to come to hospital just to accompany an older person to clinic, you're probably needing at least 2 or 3. So for them, to be able to do it at their own home, they will be the first one to put their hands up. Yeah.
All right, and I think we have just ran out of time. Thank you to all the speakers for the talk, and also thank you for the Q&A session, and thank you to all the participants who are listening and actually posting up your question. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.